Chattar Pattar with Priya. Conversations with ordinary people having extraordinary stories of connection, love, and everything that comes from it. So, in this episode, I am in conversation with Deepak Shah and Debanshi Shah, a father and daughter pair. One of my earliest and fondest connections is the biological one that I had, my biological relationship with my own papa. This is going to be an episode with some amount of waterworks. He's the first man I loved. He's the first man I admired and the first man that I wanted to please and build the strongest bond with. Till date, I aim to do so. And I love him to bits. And it gives me so much joy to present to you Deepak and Debanshi, who I go with Deb actually, because she's one of the fondest little friends that I've seen growing over the years with my daughter Roshni, and I love her so much. And Deepak, because your relationship with your daughter, what I've seen online, it's just something that I've admired and I have loved so much. I haven't met you ever before this, and so it's a thrill to see you in, even if virtually. But I have really loved the kind of bond I've seen online. So I want to begin this episode by asking you, Deb, that how would you like to introduce your dad? And Deepak, how would you like to introduce Deepak? So let's get straight into it. Whoever wants to go first.
Well, I think firstly, thank you for having us. I don't
Thank you.
think, yeah.
Yes, it's an interesting for us also. We have a complete diverse personality. She is an actor, dancer, choreographer, whereas I'm in a more of a mundane kind of activity, like I mean the trekking, climbing mountains,
Running for 1,000 miles.
the earlier I used to be, much before this marathon craze came up, I used to be a marathon runner.
Kya
So
baat hai.
anyway, but somehow uh, we are managing with each other, like doing Lakshman Rekha and managing with each other.
I love that. He says that we are such diverse personalities, and yet there is this Lakshman Rekha. I want to ask you about that Lakshman Rekha later, but Deb, can I ask you to tell us a little bit about your father?
He's the more serious of the two, where he's probably getting out of the house, and his downtime is adventure. His downtime is going on like 20,000 feet high peaks, or randomly at 4:30 in the morning getting up and going to Sanjay Gandhi National Park on a Sunday morning. So that's my father. I think a chartered accountant by profession, but like an explorer and wanderer by heart. Can I tell him your age?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm quite young.
He's quite young. He's 60 plus. He takes all the senior citizen benefits that the government has to offer, but he does not act like a senior citizen. He does not look like a senior citizen at all.
Oh.
So that's my father.
How do you feel about that description that she's given about you, Deepak?
It's like my correct age, which if I'm allowed to describe, it
Of
is
course you are.
this. I'm little 3 months short of 17 plus
Yeah.
50 plus 50.
Can you tell he's a numbers guy? He is a chartered accountant.
Chartered accountant for sure. I'm boggled. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to park that and move on to the next point of our episode.
Yeah. Also, sorry, before you move on,
Yeah.
like honestly, from the bottom of our hearts, like we've never actually sat and reflected on our relationship. And he is fully clueless about what all I put up on social media randomly, right?
Okay.
But the minute you approached us, it kind of made us like wonder, oh wait, are we really a strong duo? Is that what it is? So we have our flaws, and we, of course, we're not a perfect relationship. I don't think that exists. But you approaching us and saying that, I really want to talk to you guys and how you do it, it's
Oh, we were thrilled.
yeah, we were thrilled, and we were like, really, is that true? But thank you.
That's the perception you're creating, guys. And that's what's critical right here, because it's something that attracted me. And every time I come to your post and I see Deepak and you out there somewhere in a tent, or hiking someplace with your family, it literally warms my soul.
Yeah.
Right. So, Deepak, let me start with you. You and I became parents in a time when there was this so-called suggested thing that the boys are more valuable, and there is this chatter still in some parts of the world. And what did it feel like to have a daughter?
My early period was like, the mother was the central character, like how you say father.
Yeah.
Mother was the central character. She was
Right.
not kept well. I used to take a lot of care of her.
Yeah.
Me and brother, we were only two brothers, no sisters. My elder brother also earlier in the joint family, he had two boys, no girls. So like, then my mom and Bindu, wife, they were looking forward for a girl. So
Right.
like, it was a long time, almost after uh, 50, 60 years that the girl was born in the house, in the family.
Ooh.
I broke the spell. Like even my dad's elder brothers, two sons, and brother, like for Rakhi also, they'd be like, finally,
There's
there is a girl. Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, honestly, I haven't thought about it like, what's the difference between the boy and the girl. As far as I'm concerned, the two central characters in my life were very happy. So I was happy.
I mean, like, just to rally off of that, I think they always made me feel special and equal at the same time, like now I tie Rakhi to my brother and he ties it back to me. So it was I don't think I grew up in a time in a time in my house where it was a son or a daughter. It was children, equal opportunities, equal treatment. My mom did, like, she put me into so many extracurriculars. My dad made sure I went into so much. Like, it was a very balanced, the way my brother was treated, I think I felt treated always.
So the fundamental object of making them grow was like, between me and wife, there was a distribution of the responsibilities. Like as long as the academic education was concerned, she was well aware. But as far as I was concerned, my responsibility was to take them for the outdoor activities. Maybe it may be like, how do they pursue that roller skating or trekking or
Volleyball.
Volleyball. I think she was representing, Debanshi represented the volleyball team of the school, or any other extracurricular activity with focus on physical fitness.
He says that he wasn't really involved in like education and stuff, but dad was the one who would drop us to our exams all the time. Like he was busy, right? Like it's always the role as a provider is hectic, it's bearing. But dad would make sure he removed time. He would go out of his way and come and drop us to school. If my exam center was like, sometimes I think during my 12th board, my exam centers were far away. They were totally away from his office. He would still time himself in a way and like come. So yeah, the role division was there, and I think that's a great thing that my parents had. But both of them were equally involved in everything. Like they always knew, it was never a ye tumhara job hai. I'm not getting involved. I'm too busy doing I don't know, my office work. It was never like that.
Like I must have attended each and every parents teachers meeting.
PTAs, yeah.
All meetings of the children's evaluation. Yeah. I don't think so. I would have missed even one also, unless I'm out somewhere for months, like
Yeah.
And there was absolutely no difference between a boy and a girl, between Debanshi and our son Shobhan. Everything is different, but as far as we are concerned, there's absolutely no distinguishment in providing with the opportunity.
Awesome. There are some people who, I get more attracted to, wanted to build better relationships with, because there's something in them that I see, that, that I relate to, right? Similarly, there are some people who come into my life who I, say, my God, what kind of a person was this? And yet there's some learning that comes out of that, right? So my next question is, what are the character traits that you see in people that make you connect with them better?
If I find that there is a genuinity is not there, there's a fake mask is there, or it's like, somebody is trying to becoming very, very over friendly and trying to, like, uh, lagao a pest for whatever reason, like,
Like a maska.
then I'm on my guard.
Yeah. Right. So genuinity is important for you.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Deb?
On a very basic level, the vibe that I get, or like the energy that I can feel, like, will either put me on my guard or will let me be me. So like, I think it's very valuable to me if somebody allows you to be yourself, and there is not that layer of oh my God, I have to like be a certain way, or I have to talk a certain way. And so just as easy as I can feel in my skin is what really connects me to somebody.
And apart from the biological connection that both of you have of being a parent and child, so do you feel that absolute, or that comfort in your skin with Deepak? And similarly, do you, Deepak, find genuinity in your daughter Debanshi?
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a no-brainer for us. I think we're really not perfect. Like, we argue on the phone often, we disagree often, but I'll still, like, he will be my first call if I need advice. Or even if we've had like a disagreement and I still need to like get an opinion or a suggestion, like, there will be a family meeting that will be called, and like, I know my parents will let me be my unapologetic self. And it really matters because I feel like I really grow in his presence. Like, I'll be able to say whatever I want to, and then from a space of non-judgment, I will get the advice I really need. Or I'll get the direction that I'm really looking for. He's instilled a lot of independence in me, of like being capable enough to take decisions on my own. But I know, if I need a mirror, like, I'll still pick up the phone and I'll be like, was that okay? Was that right? Or like, was I supposed to take another path? And the validation is it, I still get it. I still seek it, and I still get it. So much has changed in the course of my life, like from making those decisions to way more complicated decisions. And he's still as involved. He'll give me the listening ear. He'll really, like, there'll be things that will be like generational gap, right? There will be things that will be probably not in his purview of things. But he won't judge too quickly. He'll really sit and he'll assess, he'll understand. And then even when he puts down his thought, if it's contradictory to mine, it won't come from a place of "Fir jo karna hai kar lo." It'll never come from that spot. It'll always be a, okay, let's agree to disagree. I do believe that this would not be the right way to go about it, but if you think that this is the right way to do it, then do it. So that independence, I think it comes from, I think we're digressing from your question, but I think it comes from a really strong place of trust that has been instilled in our relationship, right? Like, I trust him deeply, and he trusts me deeply. So even if we don't agree with probably little decisions in life, the overall outcome of things, I know that he'll always stand by me. He'll never do me wrong, or like, he'll be my person. And I think likewise, and I can proudly say it, like, I know he'll trust me to not be rogue, you know. I can be a rebel, but he knows that I won't be a drug addict. As simple as that. Like, those are fears, right, that parents have. Oh, my daughter's not coming home late at night. I don't think I grew up where I had to beg for permission. Okay, no, I need to be out till 12 tonight. You know, it was a trust that, okay, I want to be out till late tonight. This is where I'm going to be. My parents knew about my first boyfriend. It was always this open communication, trust, like where he trusts me, where I trust him, kind of energy, right?
Lovely.
Right.
Oh, smile was precious.
Yeah. Yeah, and my vibe is like, I'm really genuine as a person. So my dad really.
So, this is all sounding so amazing. Just wanted to, pick up on a few things that you shared here, that you said that the generation gap, there would be things like that. There would be instances where there would be disagreements. There would be, he just doesn't get your perspective, or, you're unable to explain, some things to him. How do you navigate that? Because more so than ever before, there's so much happening and rapid change that's happening, and kids are getting exposed to so much more, so much faster, right? So how do you, navigate bringing each other back to the same page? Do you feel that's important in the first place? And how do you do it? How do you navigate that? Deb, that question's for you.
I don't know. Like, honestly, there are so many things that we don't see eye to eye on, but at the same time that we do see eye to eye on. And that's I think with any relationship that I
So
have.
so give me an example.
Getting up late,
Oh,
sleeping late.
Things that you don't see eye to eye on: getting up late. You
so
getting
my dad is a early riser. Okay. His morning energy is to run away from. You meet Deepak Shah at 9 in the morning, he's already been awake for 4 hours. So, when you're just like rubbing your eyes and waking up and going like, okay, I need to go like brush my teeth. Dad's like, okay, so this is what needs to be done. Okay, let's go get the car, this thing. Like, he'll have a list. Okay. My dad, even now, he has writing pads. Like, he has pads in which he writes his tasks. Okay.
And
So
there's a pad for each type of task. So what?
correct. There is a separate section. So if I just tore a page out of that writing pad, it would be like, oh, whoa, life is upside down. He's very organized and he's very meticulous about like tasks and everything. I personally, now that I'm growing older, now that I live away from my parents, I'm beginning to realize the kind of beauty that lies in like 6:30 a.m. to 10 a.m., like that me time and that constructive grounding self kind of hours. So I think we bicker,
Okay.
but I think the very next second, if I still have something that I need to ask him before he goes away to work, I'll still just like we just change gears. I think it's like driving a
How
car.
does it happen? Like, how do you change gears to, from like, cloud
Being
space to
I
cloud
don't know.
space
I think we have like this superficial anger that we live in with each other, where we be like, no, dad, you really don't get it, or like, acha, dad, fine, just do whatever you want. Then the Banshee, and then to the next second, like, acha, dad, listen now, can you please understand this? So it's a very it's like a very quick
Switch on, switch off.
switch on, switch off. Like, it's nothing serious.
Yeah.
It's like serious. I think the one very serious fight that I know I've had with my dad, and that was related to driving. Like, my dad has been my driving teacher, and he's been driving since so many years. So I think, like, honestly, this is the grub. Like any parent, he loves to backseat, side seat drive. In okay, he loves it.
Back seat, side seat.
He is not car, but he will be driving the car. You know? So I think those are the moments that we've always had like real fights on. And even those have always been like, yeah, whatever. I know this is never going to change. My dad is always going to tell me, oh, watch the person coming from the right, or there's a speed breaker, or like, look, there's a signal. And I'm like, all things I can see. But till date, you will never stop pointing them out to me. So I think we navigate them through, again, I think it comes back to trust. For me, it like that root level of me just knowing that he's not doing it from a place of mistrust. Like he's not telling me how to drive because he doesn't think I can drive,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
because he knows, but it's that fatherly instinct where he just has to. It just to.
The things are changing. Like, the learning, I believe that learning is not only for the children to learn.
Hmm.
Course of time, elders also learn to navigate their way.
Uh-huh.
For example, late, if anybody else is driving, the best thing to do in the car is to sit on the back seat and go to sleep. Close your eyes, catch up with the sleep, because it's all.
She's shaking her finger as you're saying this. Good
Because
God.
even as you can sleep, you can tell if you brake too hard. My dad has already put a -1 next to me. It happened. He
So,
could,
on the one hand, you're saying that there's so much trust, but do you feel a shade of judgment that comes from him? Is that you feel judged?
I think I seek it, you
Hmm.
know, like it's the kind of judgment I want. Like my dad said, I am a person who needs validation every now and then, and I don't seek it from a lot of people in my life. So I actually seek it. I
Right.
actually want him to tell me if I did okay, you
Yeah.
know, if that was right. So do I feel judged in tiny decisions that I make in my life through my like by my dad? No, no.
Mm.
And he is a financial whiz. He
Mm.
is the financial whiz of the family. But he still lets me make my decisions. He wants me to fall. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I remember when I was growing up, I used to always ask him. My dad knew at the back of his hand the train schedule because he would take the train a lot and go to town from here.
Right.
So when I would have to take it once in a while, I would ask him, okay, Dad, what train should I? I'm going to go by train. I'll take it from this station or that station. He'd be like, okay, there's a 9:08.
Oh, wow.
It's slow, that'll come if you leave the house at 8:40 a.m. You will make it by 9:05. It'll give you enough time to get the ticket. And like he's that meticulous and particular. But at the same time, if I'd be like, okay, Dad, I need to go to Worli today, he'd be like, open the map of Bombay, you
Mm.
know, see how you'll go.
Mm.
So he equips me, but at the same time, he doesn't cripple me.
Right.
So I know if I need answers or if I need a validation, I can go to him. But at the same time, I know that I can make my own decisions, and it's okay if I fail. He'll still be there to safety net me.
Awesome. That's just sounding like music to my ears to know that, he's just there for you.
Are you crying? Don't cry.
No,
He's
not at
not,
all. Not at all.
He's not.
not at all, not at all.
Nothing you said.
So lovely. This is just panning out so beautifully. You said the frivolous stuff, the small, little stuff, like getting up or driving or etc. is fine. But the big things, have you had to, how have you navigated that to bring your dad onto the same page, or both your parents rather, onto the same page? And how important has that been for you?
Very, I think, like I said, my parents are people that I have shared my day-to-days with ever since I can remember. So when we have things that we don't agree on, I think the really good thing that my parents have done is build like this democracy in the house, where there's no one person who makes the final decision. Matlab, bol diya, matlab bol diya. That energy doesn't exist in our house for the most of it. Of course, there are like I said, like financial decisions that I know that my dad would be the leader on, or like, other things. But for the most of it, we are in a very, we're all very opinionated, and we're all entitled to our opinion in the house.
The mindset that runs into the seniors in the house is that children should become independent. And nowadays, not against anybody, but we see number of parents having a single child.
Right.
I feel like, with single child, parents are too much protective. We were very clear, like, if she wants to, at the age of 1, 2, like, so she wants to try and climb a tree. Okay, you try. See that, you try, take appropriate, somebody is waiting down so she doesn't fall, but, she is not stopped from climbing a tree or doing anything. So some risk and rewards are always there. We have seen some parents, like, having a very strict regime. 9 बजे घर पर ही आ जाने का, ये नहीं करने का, वो नहीं करने का. But then sometimes it is good, but majority, I feel like, they are not, the children, they don't grow independently, they don't grow well.
Right. One of the things that comes to my mind, Deepak, as you're saying this, is that I've always told my kids that live with the consequence of the choices you make, right? Because when you make a choice, you'll always have my back as your mother. I'll always be with you. I'll be there to support you. But knowing this, that, your parent, like you said so beautifully, Deb, that, you always have your father's back, knowing whatever you may have done or whatever may go wrong, your dad's always on your side first before anybody else's. And, this brings me to the question that there's this whole thing of, the family's honor, respect, and, that's above anything else. You got to protect that. You can't let, dishonor come to the family. And I'm not saying this is related with Deb, but what do you think of that, Deepak? That how important is it for a father to first think of their child, their daughter, and what she may have gone through and what might, have gone wrong with her to have made that choice, and therefore be with her through that moment?
Education does play an important part. The 4 things are very important in life. I say, read, write, speak, and listen. So when the child is growing up, it applies to the parent also. The parent as well as child. I mean, in this continuous process, one should not get to, that kind of situation. So
yeah, I get that. It's beautiful what you say. Read, write, speak, and listen. These are the, the values with which you've brought up your children. And
speak and listen are alternate. Like read, write, listen, speak is what he always says. Like read, educate yourself, write about it, like really educate yourself, listen to what the world has to say before you form your opinion and actually open your mouth and speak.
Wow. Right.
So when these 4 things comes up, like, the thoughts like controlling a girl child, or, putting her into the restrictions that she can do only this much, she cannot do this much. I mean, all those things, they go out of the window.
Like I was never like, it was, if I wanted to, and I have not chosen a straight job, right? I'm a performing artist.
Exactly. Must be late hours, must be all kinds of different kinds of, engagements that you might need to go to, etc. Yeah.
And more than that, it's not a white collar job, right? My brother, like, education is is given a lot of priority, but I was never told you have to be a doctor, in a doctor, an engineer, or like any,
or even a chartered accountant like your father.
Exactly. So there was never any pressure. My dad has his own practice, so it would be the obvious choice. One of the kids does pick up his practice and take over the company, but it was never, I don't think my brother ever felt it. I have never felt it. So like it was, it's been I was never told you can't do this, you can't wear this, you can't choose this.
In fact, after her graduation from NM College doing BMS, a reasonably good bachelor's degree, after working for 2-3 years in the various capacities, including like, trying to pursue her dance and the artist, she got admission in Symbiosis for the post-graduation.
This is the Symbiosis Pune, is that it?
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
I was applying for multiple like PGDM, like
So
Correct.
she,
Yeah.
on her marriage, she had gone through all the process of that, the examination, the written test, and interview, and everything finally. And the letter had come. We have to pay the money. The funds are also in place. Everything is ready. But she and her brother, they sat down in detail and decided, okay, I mean, like, this is more like a theory, then, later on you'll be doing these, that, and you are not
I'm not
made up of
inclined.
that kind of stuff. So you may not enjoy that. So
I mean,
so-
I decided I want to do a post-grad course. I decided I want to like stop dancing and do a post-grad course. I gave 2 years, like I gave prep and everything to it, and everybody supported me. And the minute I had to take admission and actually come through with my decision, I got a really good dance opportunity that was making me travel, and I was like, okay, you know what, drop this. I don't want to do this. I want to do that. And
Yeah.
even with that, I don't remember having a very tense conversation with my dad or with my parents in general. It was just, I know I've spent a lot of money with coaching. I spent a lot of money giving these entrance exams. Each of them cost money.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm this close. Like, I just have to pay the admission fee and I can start my post-grad course. But I don't want to.
Yeah.
I want to dance.
That thing of I don't want to, so is it that because dance is your first love and your parents honored that decision of yours?
Yeah, I think they just, I don't know if they recognize it as my first love because I don't know if I recognize it as my first love. But they kind of support what I want to do. And it's been a couple of changes for me. Like I've gone from wanting to dance really seriously to wanting to act really seriously to choreographing really seriously. And all of these are my passion projects if anybody else saw it. But my parents truly saw it like a thing I want to do, and supported me. In fact, my dad always told me, as long as you're sure it's going to keep you on your own 2 feet,
Yeah.
do what you want.
Awesome.
And that was a priority for him. Like he would always say, you need to be financially independent. You need to be smart enough to, like, there's no relying on your husband or relying on me. You need to be a person by yourself. And these are things that I think every boy is also told in a household, right? So I don't know how many girls hear it, fortunately or unfortunately, like in every household. Now I'm surrounded by friends that have heard it, but I
Yes.
know of a lot of people that actually aren't told the same thing. They are told to get married and
Yeah.
get on with their life. Like that is the ultimate goal. But
Yeah.
that was never the case. I was over 30 when and I was nowhere close to getting married, or close to 30, nowhere close to getting married. There was never any pressure that I felt,
Wow.
कि अभी शादी करते हैं या अभी it's just those, like, I feel like a very safe environment was was created for me. I was really taken care of as a child, and now if you turn it back on me, like my dad says, it is time for them to start being children and live their life more freely because they couldn't. Like, I know my dad had a full-time job to make sure he could provide for me. My mom had a full-time job to make sure I was going to my number of classes. But I feel like the buck comes back, and in a way where I want to be able to allow and foster a good life for my parents now. They made amends. They made it happen for me, and it's my time to do the same.
To do the things back for them. Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, I'd like to ask another generic question to both of you. So,
Mm.
loving someone, Deepak and Deb, is one of the purest and most divine feelings that one can have, right? And this is applicable to any relationship. And this is something that I believe. So I say that when I love someone, I hold them very dearly in my heart and I do anything for them. I go to lengths to, do things for them. Sometimes beyond myself, I'll, do things for them. So this brings me to my next question. What is your definition of love and how do you express love for each other?
It's the most difficult question.
But give it a shot. I'm sure you'll find a nice answer.
Something which cannot be expressed, but which is unconditional, which is always there.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Is love according to you?
Yep.
Okay. And
Yeah.
how do you express love for your daughter? In what ways do you express love for her?
Very difficult.
I think he allows me to be me. I can answer that. Like he allows me to be me. He'll randomly say, "Oh, is nobody going to give me a hug?"
One
Now,
hug has to be given right now to this person.
we're very awkward. Very awkward
Huggers.
we're very awkward at demonstrating our love for each other. I
Yeah.
think it just comes in like actions in different ways of our life. Like,
Sure.
um,
What do you think? Why do you think are men so awkward about expressing love? If I
I
may
don't know if it's men, huh? Even I'm very awkward.
You
Like,
are?
yeah, I've never been a hugger. I think, I got converted over time. So,
Friends and all that being so expressive, I guess.
yeah, I think it's just the kind of relationship we have. Like, we have this very strong front.
But if you look at friends, was it genuine?
Ah.
I don't know.
Because these are something that you don't learn from friends.
I mean, yeah, like I don't think it's ingrained in us to like,
Yeah.
honestly, as a family, we're not very, our physical touch is not, it's not our strongest suit.
Yeah. So what is the love language in the family in that case?
That democratic feeling in the house where everyone has an opinion on everything and they're allowed to it. Like that is our love language. Like we sit at dinners and we're dissecting things about each other's lives, about everything. And it kind of makes us who we are. We're not people who, I'm not a person who takes orders. So leadership quality in me, I think, has come through this, where I'm allowed to have a say in the house, being the youngest, something. I mean, I'm probably talking the most in this conversation also, right? Like it's just, it's easy for somebody who's this young, who's this inexperienced. I'm not the smartest cookie in my family, but I know I'm still. They still seek my. I know I'm still valued. Yeah, I know my opinion still matters.
Yeah.
No, so that I think is unconditional, undefinable. I go back to what you said. It's hard to put a pin on it. It's just we allow each other to exist.
Deepak, are you thinking of saying something on that?
Yes.
Generally, it's read, write, listen, and speak. So I haven't read much about love. So I don't think so I'm able to express, unless and until person reads then only one can express. So I think it's not coming into my book.
I don't think these things you need to teach, right? I don't think you can read write about it. I think you just are.
I think I'm sensing that just the being of the family, there is love that is omnipresent. The fact that there is a space of safety, the fact that there is a space of democracy, the fact that each of you value each other's opinions and hold each other and back up each other. That is so precious, and I think that is the main love language. And I think the definition of love is sometimes just not required because it's just present.
Love is like aura hovering around.
Yeah. And I think we're not yes people. Like we're also people that we're our strongest mirrors as well. Like I know my dad, my brother, my mother will be my strongest critics. If I have made a blip, they will not tell me, oh, koi nahi beta. When I told you about my example of wanting to choose dance and then, going the other way and trying to study and then deciding, no, it's dance. They allowed it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they did sit and reason with me about it.
Yeah.
It wasn't just, yes, okay, you want to do this? Sure. Yes, want to do this? Sure. Yes. Like they sat me down and questioned me.
Mm,
They're not my yes people. They're not going to agree with everything that I do.
right,
Because I'm their child and I'm their blood.
right.
They will be my strongest conscience when I need it. Like it all comes back to us trusting each other and us also knowing that not only will this person come and save me if I am in trouble, but
Yeah,
will also remind me that why I got into the trouble in the first place.
right.
You
Beautiful.
know?
These are the learning processes.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. So, I'm now going to shift gears and take you a lot of serious stuff, take you to a little bit of the fondest memory you have of your daughter, Deepak, if you can share that. And Deb, you too, the fondest memory that you have with your father.
Devanshi was 5 years old. The whole family, me, Bindu, my elder sons Shoban and Devanshi. Only four of us, we were on a trek to Pindari Glacier, which
Okay.
is uh, which is in Uttarakhand. I mean, the glacier would have been located at about 12,000. Incidentally, it starts raining, and for 3 days we are stuck over there in the forest bungalow. There is only one particular caretaker is there. He makes you food. So I could see Devanshi getting up in the morning, and I don't remember the name of the chacha. You remember the name of the chacha? Chacha, aloo paratha lao, chacha, aloo paratha.
We
lao.
almost
Like,
Aloo
and,
paratha do, aloo paratha do. Me and my brother would do this.
and there was nobody else except four of us and the caretaker, and the spend like the 3 days that we spent over there. Uh, we used to sleep in the sleeping bags.
Aw.
Sleeping bag, since Devanshi was so tiny, she used to get into my sleeping bag. Both of us, we used to sleep together
He took my fondest memory now. Now you can't ask me this.
in one sleeping bag. Sleeping bag is like a gunny bag kind of thing, which will
Yes, 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 I'm aware. I'm a trekker myself, so I'm aware.
Yeah, you've done Everest Base Camp.
Yes,
Oh,
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, so that's lovely. Thank you for sharing that, Deepak. Deb, what about you?
I mean, honestly, my dad taught me how to cycle. He taught me how to swim. He took
Ah,
me on my first hike. He still takes me on hikes and treks all the time. Um, there are I used to sleep in the same sleeping bag as him, and like I think till we actually did Everest Base Camp. When I was 15, I think we both realized that now, I'm growing up and
Now
in the same
have a separate sleeping bag for this
yeah,
trip.
so like those are our moments of
Oh,
yeah, we really cherish those. Like I think all the times that we've been away on vacation,
yeah.
have mostly been in the mountains, and they've mostly been my fondest memories of him. Like there were times when he would tail us as kids, right? He would be the guide, and he would be the
Yes.
person making sure that we're on the right path, that I'm not straying. And I feel like I'm doing that now, where I'd be the last person on the trail, and I'd be like, "Has dad come? Has dad come?" Giving my hand. So I like that the whole circle of life is like he's letting me live it, because he still takes me on the treks. He still arranges it. He still organizes it. He still plans it, but I'm allowed to be the person who is guiding the path now, or making
Aw.
sure the last person is.
and she takes great care of me. बराबर खाना खाया कि नहीं वगैरह वगैरह.
Aw.
So,
Lovely. The father and daughter relationship is so beautiful, and I cherish my relationship with my dad so much. And yet, when a daughter gets married, it's a time of separation. It's a time of her moving into her husband's home. In traditionally in India, it's that way. How has that experience been for the two of you?
This was a movement like maybe mentally we were getting ready for it, and when she left, there was a void, but it's been like worked out. Okay, like चलो रास्ता निकल गया और अपना अपने काम पे लगो करके.
yeah, I never leave. I never leave. I
You're one person who never leaves from any relationship, from anything. And that's what's actually special about you, Deb. You are lovely. And big
I
hugs to you for that one. But tell me, what did it feel like?
Yeah, I don't think it was easy. I don't think I ever prepared myself for distancing myself from my parents. I think I've lived in my with my parents all my life. I think I just took it one day at a time, and it was not easy. And I think you come to know about it as time progresses. Like in your second year or third year away from home, you realize what it is that was so easy about actually living at home. So it's not something that came overnight for me. I still find it hard living away from my parents, and I'm here all the time. Luckily, I don't live too far away. So I make it a point to like come and really be home. As a family also, the space and the distance, it also has brought us closer. Like it happened in a time of COVID where everything was so in your face, that I think now that we live a little away from each other, we value each other's time more, because we're still very in each other's lives. My mom makes it a habit. Like she's like, "Where are you? You haven't called." Like what's going on? Or my dad will be like, Mama has a ritual where she calls her dad every day at 8:30. Maybe you should also have a ritual like that. So he drops these hints, and like
To drop a hint like
he
that.
drop a hint like that. So, like they
But
haven't
that
helped
is
him.
that is a love language, by the way. That him wanting you to call at a certain time, make a
Yeah.
ritual of it.
Yeah, so even though he doesn't like
Amazing.
hug me tight, I
Yeah.
know I know he still wants me around, even if
Oh,
I'm not. So, and that's precious. To
so
feel
precious.
wanted like this, yeah, to feel wanted like this, it's really important, especially as you go far away from home, like to know that there's still somebody who wants you.
Somebody, so many of them, three of
No
them,
matter-
all three of them want you.
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
all want you. You are so special. So, my last question. Is there an ideal father-daughter relationship?
Uh, as I already put in, like, I mean, one, the parents have to allow children to grow independently, let them take their own decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, 50% of the time you may say ki you defer, but ultimately they can go ahead and take the decisions.
Right.
And a very rare occasion, as you rightly put it, like, they have to be responsible for their decision. आगे जाके लड्डू भी मिलेगा, घास फूस भी मिलेगा. So they have to be ready with that. And very rarely we have to try and convince them more कि भाई this is a life and death or a make and break kind of thing. So you
Yeah.
be please extra careful. You consider our view, but ultimately they are independent to
Yeah.
take decisions.
Lovely. Lovely.
And treat them as a friend. Like, four people in the house, everybody has got an equal voting right.
Equal voting, right? I like that.
Yeah.
Um, Deb, anything coming from you?
Yeah, he's always stealing my answers. I think I I think it just I don't know if there is an ideal. I think there is a different definition that works for different kinds of fathers and daughters. But be a friend, open, honest communication, just giving. It's easy to shut your parent out and say you don't understand, and it's easy for the parent to shut the kid out and say you don't know better. So I think if when I think our relationship doesn't have that, where even if I assume my dad may not get it, I will still make it a point to try and make him get it. And if he's never assuming that she doesn't know, or I have seen
Yeah.
40 more Diwalis than you have, so you need to just take my word for it. Like
It's never been that.
yeah, just trusting each other,
I
being
mean,
a
trust
friend.
has come several times in this entire conversation. Trust is seeming like the foundation of your relationship.
Yeah.
Just loving that.
And
You
it's
know,
not I need to give credit where it's due. This is something that my brother actually really inculcates. He's actually given this to us. He's made us realize that trust is what we have for each other. And he's like, in any relationship, if it all boils down to trust, whether it is a student teacher relationship, a husband wife relationship, a parent child, or just a service person, or like your house help, and you,
Anyone.
it all just boils down to trust. And we realize in our family, we insanely trust each other. We have so many options to disagree, because we're all individual, like what my dad started with, all very independent minds, very individualistic. My dad's a CA, I'm a performing artist, my mom's a teacher, my brother's a designer. We're not the same.
People at
We're not,
all.
yeah, we're
Totally
not from
different. Yeah.
totally different with our choices and professions, but we all trust that each of us, is there for each other, is the person that we can go to for an opinion, or we're all cut from the same cloth, even though we're very different.
The cloth
Right?
is of trust.
Yeah.
The cloth of the Shah family is trust, and the love is omnipresent, like Deepak beautifully said. This has been such a wonderful conversation. I can't thank you all enough for taking the time to be with me today and share your beautiful experiences, the love that you share for each other, the bond. I see it it's so apparent. And even though it's not expressed like the way you say, Deepak, I see it. And that's what attracted me to the two of you. High five on that. High five.
Thank you for creating that safe environment for us. The reason why you could recognize it in us is because it's in you somewhere, where you share that bond with your dad, or you aspire, and you see it, right? You see what is an ideal situation, and if you didn't see it, I don't think we would have the opportunity to.
Oh my God, I'm getting emotional.
So thank you.
Thank you, Deepak. Thank you
very much.
Yeah.
Wow. And that brings me to the end of this episode. What a beautiful father-daughter relationship. I am so loving all these conversations, and I don't know what's going to come of any of this, but what I want to share is that not only do I find so much of what people are sharing so relatable, but also so valuable, right? Because I'm also gaining so much from them as they speak. I have learned so much from the way Deepak is so trusting of the presence of love being just omnipresent in their lives. He doesn't need to express it, but his actions in a way showcase it by not only being an exemplar in the way he is like a father, giving his daughter the space to express, to feel safe, to make mistakes, and to trust her and to have her back when things go bad. And I love Deepak's philosophy of read, write, listen, and then speak. And he's an exemplar of that. And Debanshi, the beautiful soul that she is an outcome of that environment of safety, of trust, of love that is omnipresent. The way she has spoken with so much, bond and confidence and love for her father. I can see it in the way she talks, the way she looks at him when he's answering, and the way she feels so comfortable to be in her own skin, that nothing comes in the way between her father and her, because even though they have their arguments, they are back into taking advice, they're back into communication when something really matters. This has been such a precious experience, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did curating it. See you in the next episode of Chattar Pattar with Priya.